press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children. Biomolecules. Next part. So what we discussed so far was classification, and we discussed different structures, and we classified epimers and anomers of glucose, then the open structures of glucose. Now we will discuss about the closed structures of glucose, and it is different nomenclature. Previously I told you all the monosaccharides are reducing because they have free aldehydic, means they have the free functional carbon. Open rings, open structures have got free functional carbon, that is carbonyl carbon, which can undergo reactions with Bendix or Fehling solution. Now so far we reached a conclusion. I talk about the glucose. So ring cyclization, ring, or in other words, cyclization of glucose and fructose. Keep it in mind, glucose is an aldose, optical rotation is plus, and naturally occurring it will be in D form, and its L form also is available. Fructose is a ketose which is levorotatory. Fructose is levorotatory. And optical rotation of fructose is minus 92 degrees, and optical rotation of glucose is 52 degrees. Good. So far it's clear. Now let us draw the structure of glucose again, children. So we have C, double bond O, then you got H here, then I'll draw carbons only here. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is our CH2OH group. Is it clear? Now looking in this, we have OH positions on the right. This is OH here, then you got OH here, then you got OH here, and then as usual CH2OH. I told you when ring cyclization occurs, there is a formation of hemiacetals or hemiketals. So we have the formation of hemiacetals or hemiketals depending upon whether the interaction is happening between the aldehyde or C double bond OH aldehyde, or it is happening between ketone with alcohol. So when it is aldehyde with alcohol, we have hemiacetal formation, and when it is ketone with alcohol, we have hemiketal formation. Basic mechanism you might have done in alcohols, hemiacetal and hemiketal formation. Basically what exactly is a hemiketal? Hemiketal, children, is we have a carbon atom which is linked on one side with ether link. In simple words, I'll talk about hemiacetals. In hemiacetals, carbon is attached to two oxygen atoms. Carbon is attached to two oxygen atoms, in which one oxygen is from alcohol and other oxygen is from ether. Okay, and hemiketal will be when we have carbon attached to two oxygens, but this carbon one will be our which linkage? Ether, and one is our OH, no doubt, but there is a ketone formation around the carbon atom itself. So ROR link will be there. ROR link, that is ether link will be there. So we have RCR which is linked to OR, then which is linked to OH, will have hemiketal formation here. Basic thing is there is intramolecular cyclization here. So intramolecular cyclization when occurs, the farthest possible carbon which is chiral center. I told you earlier, there are other chiral centers where this cyclization can also occur, but there will be steric hindrances, there will be altered ring structures, and number 3, the ring size alterations will lead to the distability. What happens is, we have the interaction between the stereo center, the farthest away, and between the carbonyl carbon center, that is first carbon. So there is a reaction between primary carbon, that is functional carbon, and carbon 5. So technically in open structure C1, C5 cyclization occurs. You can also write it sometimes as there is C1, this is alpha, beta, gamma, delta, C1 delta carbon bonding. So C1 delta carbon bonding, when it will occur, what will happen, children, is cyclization occurs. Technically there is an advancement of this also. There is a lone pair of electron in OH, it will interact on the carbon with a plus charge, then with the elimination of water molecule, cyclization occurs. And in cyclization we have learned, this OH is on the right side, you got C here, you got O here. When the ring cyclization occurs, what will happen? Have a look on this carefully, children. So we'll have this as a linear chain for us. Then there is a link via oxygen. So there is link via oxygen, that is with the 5th carbon here. Got it? So we have, then we got here carbons. What is here? This one is here carbon, link is via oxygen. So this is our carbon atom. Then we'll have one more carbon here, then carbon here, 1, 2, 3, then 4, then you got 5, and this is the 6th one. So this is CH2OH going out of plane. So here OH is on the right side here. So you got OH here, and you have H here, you have OH here, you have H here, you have OH here, you have H here. Is it clear or not? So in any system where OH is on the right side, it is the alpha form of glucose. I mentioned OH on the right side of a stereo center means in the ring it will be on downward side. Now let us see how it is a hemiacetal formation here. Look here. So you got oxygen linked to what? Carbon. Oxygen linked to carbon, and other side it's also linked to alcohol. We'll have a look onto that. So this is carbon. Oh, yes or no? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When the ring cyclization occurs, how does it occur, children? Actually, it's like this. This is oxygen. What's a group here? We have OH, we have H. Here again, we have OH, it is H. What do we have here? It is OH, it is H. Here we have OH, it is H. Here you have H, and here you got CH2OH. Now have a look. This carbon is linked to etheric linkage. So OR linkage is there. So ROR, it's like ether linkage. This one. So this is on the whole ether linkage, I'll put it. Then this carbon is attached to O, which is an alcohol. Attached to one more carbon over here. Yes. So what formation is it? Carbon. Attached to what? 2 oxygens, in which one oxygen is from alcohol and other oxygen is from alcoholic link. So this is what? Hemiacetal ring. Oh, sorry, this is hemiacetal group for us. Am I clear? OH is present where? OH is present down the plane, and here CH2OH is present above the plane. Such an isomer in which on carbon number 1 we have OH downwards, and here carbon number 5 we have CH2OH group on the upper side. So it's like this, one down and one will be up. So it is cis or trans. This is trans. This one is called as alpha form of glucose. What form? Alpha form of glucose. So it will be alpha. What is the basic configuration that it had? D. What type of rotation it was exhibiting? Plus alpha D plus, what will be it? Glucose. Alpha D plus glucose, basic name. Now when you look on this ring, children, this ring matches with one of the structures of organic chemistry called as, it is 6-membered ring. 6-membered ring, we call it as furan. The structure of furan is like this, children. So we have oxygen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5 membered, sorry, 6 membered ring we have to make. 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Including, we have a double bond here. So including what? Including oxygen, the total members are how many? 6. Don't get confused with this. It's like this. Oxygen. So you have oxygen here. So it matches with the furan structure wise. Okay, this is furan. So alpha D plus glucose. But this is which form of glucose? Furan form. It matches with the structure of furan. So it becomes alpha D plus glucofuranose. Right? Are you getting it or not? See, there are 2 membered rings that we are getting. Look here. One is 5 carbons and 1 oxygen containing ring, total 6 membered. And one is 4 carbon and 1 oxygen containing. That is again 5 membered. 6 membered ring that you have here is, this is the 6 membered ring that you have. Got it? So that is pyron form. Which form? Pyron. Pyron structure I mentioned out a while earlier. It's a pyron structure. Total members 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including this one also. So 1, 2, there's a double bond structure in pyron, that is different. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including oxygen 6. That's what I said. 5 carbons and 1 oxygen, total members are 6. Here also total members are 6. So this is pyron form. But this is a pyron form of what? Glucose. So we call this as alpha D plus glucopyranose. This is how you name this glucose now. Alpha D plus glucopyranose. This is carbon number 1. And on carbon number 1, OH is present downwards, and here CH2OH is upwards. So they are in what configuration with respect to each other? They are in trans conformation, right or not? Technically we cannot say cis trans because they are not adjacent to each other. But still, so according to the basic convention and nomenclature, we can say 1 down, 1 up, it is trans. That form of glucose is called as what? Alpha form of glucose. Is it clear? Now what did I say a while earlier? Alpha D plus glucopyranose or alpha glucose has the optical rotation. When you look on alpha D glucose, the optical rotation of alpha D glucose is, as I mentioned, 118 degrees. Right. Now you have one more, the beta form of this. How is beta form made? Beta form can only be made when there is a slight equilibrium existing and this ring opens again. And when the ring opens again you are getting an open structure from it. So you will get aldehyde free, because as the ring opens out you will get it free. It has been found out that is COH and then you have CH2OH. Some 0.01% of this aldehyde in the free form is present in the solutions, and then it can suddenly ring cyclize again and make one more isomeric form, that is OH. I won't draw all the things now here. So OH is here, OH is downwards, here OH is up, and H again, rest of the structures remain same. You got OH, you have H, you have OH, you have H. This is CH2OH. Again, this is the form of glucose only. The optical rotation will also be same. This is also D plus glucopyranose, because it also matches with the pyron structure. But OH and CH2OH are present by convention at the cis positions. So this is called as beta form. So this will be beta D plus glucopyranose. And as I mentioned earlier, it is optical rotation is only 18 degrees. Now you see, if you prepare a pure combination and a pure mixture of alpha form, or you have a pure component like beta form, after some time there is opening of the ring and inversion at this particular carbon comes into play, which is hemiacetal carbon in the present case. So due to this inversion, the OH is found in the beta form at the transposition naturally. optical rotation will be altered. Its optical rotation will be different compared to that of alpha form. Once you keep it as such, you will find out beta form that is present will be in 46 percentage, or technically 74%. This is found in 26%, and rest, so 25 point some percent, rest of the percentage will be which form? Open form. This is the reason why I said all monosaccharides are reducing, because all monosaccharides have got a chance at this particular carbon. This carbon and this carbon, this is carbon 1, right or not? OH downwards. So add carbon 1. In alpha, OH is downwards. Add carbon 1. In beta, OH is present upwards. These two are called as anomers. So anomers are the isomers that differ in the relative position of OH at a particular stereocentric carbon, at a particular carbon. Yes, and that carbon is which carbon? C1. If it is differing in the relative position of OH around any other position except carbon number 1, we call those as epimers. So technically, anomers are special type of epimers at carbon 1. That's a basic thing what I want to mention. What are anomers? Anomers are special epimers at carbon 1. So this is alpha form, this is beta form. Now you see that when you see the open structure of it, children, for this glucose, optical rotation for whole of equilibrium mixture, optical rotation is 52 degrees. That's why for glucose, optical rotation is given to be 52. This whole phenomena is called as mutarotation, spontaneous change in the optical activity of pure forms into altered optical activity. We call that as mutarotation. That can only happen when the ring opens out. And then when the ring opens out, some percentage of free aldehyde or free ketone in fructose will be produced. Due to that, solutions will show reactions towards particular reagents like Tollens reagent and Bendix or Fehling solution respectively. Clear or not? This is the reason why all monosaccharides are reducing. In simple way, for any substance to come out as reducing or non-reducing, it's very important that the functional carbon region where cyclization has happened, it should not be altered in its bonding. If its bonding is altered, like it has been made bulky, or it has been converted to a glycoside, or it has been converted to a substituted monosaccharides, then we will not be able to open out the ring. Thus, non-reducing property of that monosaccharide will come into play if it is substituted. So this anomeric carbon should have the tendency to open up. That can only happen when it is free from bonding itself. Am I clear or not? Am I clear? This makes it compulsorily understood to us that why all are reducing, because rings can open up. Due to mutarotation, it can happen. Actually, mutarotation is the phenomena of optical activity change, and that can only be explained by this phenomena. So children, you tell me, cyclization and anomerization that we talked about a while earlier, like epimerization. It's an isomerism at places relative positions of OH along any other carbon except carbon 1. Anomerization is with respect to carbon 1. They are all types of what? Isomerizations. All right. So you got here alpha form for this one, beta form for this one. Total number of isomers earlier that you got for glucose. Understand it, the mathematical part. So for glucose, the total number of isomers earlier you got was 16, that is 2 raised to power n, where n is the number of stereocenters. But each of those will have alpha form and beta form. So 16, you have to add more 16 to it. Because suppose that 16 which you got, they were all alpha form. They will have their beta forms also by the hemiacetal or hemiketal formation. Due to that, 16 more has to be added. 16 more to be added to this glucose I am talking, only glucose. 16 more to be added, that will make it 32. Correct or not? And for fructose, I said how many isomers are possible? For fructose, how many possible? 8. Only 3 stereocenters. So that will also have their alpha and beta. So 8 plus 8, 16. Total number of isomers for glucose plus fructose on the whole, if you say, it will be 32 plus 16. You can make it 42. But we'll have an addition term of that as the discussion proceeds on. Did you get the clear? So mutarotation phenomena explained. Opening out of the ring, aldehyde gets free. Reduction to carboxylic acid will come into play, and conversion of Cu2 plus to Cu, or conversion of AgNH3 twice plus to Ag can come into play in the present reaction. Hope you understand the phenomena here. Is it clear or not? Now, if it is beta form, what will happen? If it is suppose alpha form, beta form, OH will be on which side? Left side. Yes, OH on right side means in the main cycle downwards, which form it is? Furon or pyron? Faster. Furon or pyron form. This is pyran form. So it becomes pyranose. So it becomes alpha D plus glucopyranose. This becomes beta D plus glucopyranose structure. So alpha and beta are the two anomers of glucose. Clear? Now let us do it for fructose, children. So what will be the isomerization that will happen in fructose? Have a look on your textbooks, you will understand the diagrams further more clearly. So my work here is to explain the phenomena, how things are happening. Diagrammatically, you see the spatial arrangement with respect to OH, which is already given to you. Okay, for fructose, what's a diagrammatic analysis? Fructose, CH2OH, C double bond O, C OHH, C OHH, then COHH, then you got CH2OH. You can see ketone at what position? Second position. It will combine with what? This is alpha, beta, now gamma. A while earlier for delta. Now it will combine with gamma. Once the ring cyclization comes into play, what's the structure you are getting? CH2OH above the plane. Then this carbon. Right? You got this carbon here or not? Linked via oxygen. Then you have here C. To this carbon you have 3 bonds, will have one CH2OH group, 3 group, and you will have one more H group here. So ring cyclization occurs or not? Five attached to this, then CH2OH group. You can put the OH groups respectively at different positions. Say OH here, say OH here, H here. Correct or not? So how many oxygens? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you got 5. You have 6 groups, so you got OH again here. Yes. Once ring cyclization has come into play, children, you will have how many atoms in the ring? 4 only, including oxygen 5. So this matches with pyran structure. So pyran general structure I'll mention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then one CH2OH group is going out of the plane, and again one more CH2OH group is going out of the plane. So what will happen is this CH2OH group is going out of plane. This CH2OH group is going out of plane. Rest OH you can balance out. What will be the cyclization for it? It will be oxygen. I'll mention it oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What the group will get here? You will get CH2OH, you will get OH, then as usual you will get OH, it will be H, here it will be OH, it will be H, here again it will be OH, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will be CH2OH, and this structure should be H only here. Am I clear with the structure here? Yes. Think about it, children. Have a look on this quickly. Did you get it clear? Yes, fine. Did you see the structure here? Now you can see that OH group are on the same side here, right? Now we have to look on, this is carbon 1, 2, so this is, you can see CH2 and OH group which are present here are present on the same or opposite side, same or opposite, they are opposite sides, so alpha or beta form. But this OH, look on carbon number 3, the OH is on left side, so I have written it down, no it should not be down, it should be up, so it is OH and H. Look on the diagrams, you will get it cleared. So this is fructose, and fructose is levorotatory, right? This is alpha or beta form, this is alpha, so we'll write it alpha, D or L form. It was on the right side, right? D, alpha D, then rotation is minus, alpha D minus, but this is fructose form, fructose. This matches with the structure of what? Furan, which is a 5-membered ring including oxygen, 4 carbons and 1 oxygen, furan. This is furan form of fructose, so fructofuranose will be the name of this. What will be it is beta form, OH will be up, so structure will be CH2OH, then here OHH, here, sorry, it will be OHH, here H, it will be CH2OH. Now look on the numbers here. So now OH is down or up? It's still down. So change it, alter it, it will be CH2OH again. What's the group here? OH. This will be beta, again D, minus glucofuranose. So alpha D minus fructofuranose, this will be beta D minus glucofuranose, because these are furan structures of what? Glucose. So this is hemic kettle. Why? Because you got R, this is carbon here, attached to 2 oxygens. Yes? So it is, what's the link with respect to the carbon here? So it is C here. So R, C, O, R. So it's a ketonic form itself. So hemiketals are made. So in fructose there is a formation of hemiketal, but in aldehyde there is a formation of hemiacetal, and additional stereocenter is developed there, right? So in cyclization, all the cyclization process that are happening are intramolecular. To understand how exactly is the mechanism of this process, you should know and you should read down the reactions of what? Carbonyl carbons with alcohols. You will understand the exact reaction mechanism, how these things do come into play. Am I clear? Like I earlier mentioned about oxime formation and addition product in the formation of cyanohydrins. Did you get it? So these are the basic fundamental analysis of the cyclizations of monosaccharides. Again, you have this carbon, this is with respect to carbon number 2 here, right? Carbon 1, sorry, to be precise. Now in these cases, children, when you look on this, it's a fructose, so carbon 2 difference will be there. Yes. So here you are getting again epimers or anomers. Fast, alpha form and beta form. I already calculated the number of isomers with respect to this. And this can open up or not. So at its position, it can open up or not. Once it opens out, it will result in the isomeric form. So if these bonds are linked, where it can open up and it can develop its ketone back, and glucose can open and develop its aldehyde back. If those groups and those regions are completely blocked, then the reducing property will not be shown at all. Fructose is also reducing. There is one disaccharide which is not reducing, and that disaccharide is sucrose, which we will see in our diagrammatic analysis why it is not reducing itself. So for reduction to come into play, it should have tendency to open out at anomeric carbon. That's as basic as it can be. Did you understand it or not? So you can have a look on this and you can read about the diagrammatic analysis and you can read about the diagrams. Keep it in mind. So from now on, whenever I show any glucose molecule, I will show only important carbons and the presence of OH groups. Okay? And where exactly the OH group will be present. Did you get it clear? Right. Right, children. Now, this is some basic debate with respect to monosaccharide that we have done. What is the linkage in the oligosaccharides or polysaccharides which connects these monosaccharides together? The link which attaches monosaccharides together. So we'll now talk about disaccharides. We'll now talk about disaccharides. Okay. So some of the disaccharides we have, children, are maltose, lactose, lactose, and sucrose. These are made up of two similar or dissimilar monosaccharides. So we can have a homodisaccharide or heterodisaccharide units. These monosaccharide units are attached to each other by glycosidic link or glycosidic link, we call that as glycosidic bond. And glycosidic bond technically is like an ether link, that is ROR link, where R represents one ring via oxygen and one more R represents one more ring. So it's like an ether linkage. It's not an ether link, it's like an ether link, ROR. So here R is a monosaccharide, R is one more monosaccharide linked via oxygen with each other. Maltose, you know, you can obtain this maltose from starch or cellulose. When it is broken down into its simpler components, you will be getting glucose. And that glucose can also be obtained in the form of a disaccharide. So this monosaccharide can be obtained by breaking down. First zymase will work, it will convert the bigger polysaccharides into smaller regions, smaller units like disaccharides. These disaccharides can further be broken off by enzyme maltase and it can be converted to glucose. First of all, let us talk about maltose, what it is made up of. Everyone be careful. Maltose is made up of two monosaccharide units, that is alpha D plus glucopyranose units. So when two alpha D plus glucopyranose units combine together, it results in the formation of maltose. And again, maltose is a reducing sugar. That means it should have its free anomeric carbon. We will have a look on this. So I will write down glucopyranose structure, basic structure I will mention down. Keep it in mind, it's glucopyranose. So this is aldose. So we will have a characteristic hemiacetal group here. So that's your C here. Then it is alpha form, so OH should be down here. Then you got H. Again you have OH, you have H. We know at carbon 3 in the straight chain the OH is present on the left, that means it will be on the top. Yes. Then you got OH, you got H, then you have here H, then you got CH2OH. Am I clear? This is the basic structure of alpha D plus glucopyranose. This is pyran structure of glucose, which is optically active, which is dextrorotatory, and it is farthest chiral center has got the presence of OH, that is relative position of OH on the right, and this is alpha form in its anomeric way. This is how nomenclature of this. So this is how name of monosaccharide is to be written. With respect to particular carbon, again with respect to particular carbon, this with respect to carbon 1, this with respect to a farthest possible chiral center, optical rotation, pyron structure of hexose glucopyranose, or you can also write hexoglucopyranose or hexopyranose, you can also write. So there are many names you can write for this compound. Is it clear, children? Very good. So as I said, it is made up of alpha D-glucopyranose units. So 2 alpha D-glucopyranose units are there. Now one more alpha D-glucopyranose unit if I draw, again you got here OH, H. So again you have OH, H. You have H, you have OH here. You got OH, you got H, H. Then you have CH2OH. So this is again the same alpha D plus glucopyranose. Now when you link the two together, you can see that OH and OH is present on the same side of the plane. Means this is one planar structure, this is other planar structure. OH is downwards, OH is downwards. It's at carbon 1, this is at carbon 4. So from one region, this is attached to it. From this carbon, this is alpha form, right? So linkage is from carbon number 1 to carbon number 4 in maltose. This is alpha form. So link is from carbon number 1 of one glucose unit with carbon number 4 of other glucose unit, which is in which form? Alpha form. And here also it's in which form? Alpha form. So the link between the two will be alpha is linked to 4, 1. Here it is carbon number 1, it is 4. So we can mention down the link is alpha 1, 4 link. This is the same basic link which is present in starch and glycogen as well, which are polysaccharides. Basic link is the same there, but the only difference will be there that once let's understand this basic first. So the link between the two, OH and OH, what will happen is water molecule will be removed. I will show that reaction here. Here it is OH, then this is glucose unit. Here you have got that OH, and then there is a glucose unit, right or not? This is carbon number 1 and this is carbon number 4, correct or not? So the two will be combined together by dehydration process, so it will be water molecule is removed. When water molecule is removed, the link will be oxygen. So these are two links. So it is ROR. Again you got an ether link coming to play, ROR link here. So here again, when these will be removed off, water molecule will be removed, what's the general structure that we'll get here? We'll get oxygen, oxygen here, and we will have a link between oxygen and this bond. This link is called as glycosidic link or glycosidic bond. And this glycosidic bond is between alpha 1 and alpha 4 of two glucose units. So we call this as alpha 1,4 link. Remember, in our body, all the enzymes that break the substance is at alpha 1,4 position. Anyway, that will go forward when we'll understand it out. Again, as I mentioned down, this maltose is reducing. It's a reducing sugar. Yes, I discussed it out and I told you it's a reducing sugar. Why is it so? Although you can see one of the monosaccharides, the region, the opening region, the functional group developing region or hemiacetal region is blocked. So this is not accessible for the reaction with Benedictus or Toline's reagent at all, Benedictus solution or Toline's reagent at all. However, when you look on the second of its element, second of its group, second of its monosaccharide, you see it is anomeric carbon. That is alpha carbon is free. You can see that C1 is free. Now since this C1 is free, this particular C1 is blocked down, anomeric carbon is blocked, but this is free. As you dissolve it in solution, this will open out. As it opens out, it will be able to show the reaction because it will develop the aldehydic end itself. So it will show the reaction. Thus this disaccharide will be reducing because its group is not blocked. It is hemiacetal group, or technically the functional aldehydic group which can open up and convert the aldehydic group from a closed structure, from a hemiacetal group, it can convert it to open structure and aldehyde will be formed. It will be able to reduce Ag plus to Ag or Cu2 plus to Cu respectively. So it will definitely show positive test with respect to the testing agents like Venn-Dick's solution or Tollens reagent. Thus, maltose is a reducing sugar. So in maltose, what are the links? Alpha 1,4 links. So what is this linkage called as? Glycosidic linkage. How it is made? By the removal of water molecule. Now, you look on the chemical formula of maltose. Maltose is made up of 2 glucose units. So that makes it 180 into 2. So that makes it 360 grams. This disaccharide molecular mass is 360 grams. So minus water molecule, so minus 18, so that will be 342. Even sucrose, which is also made up of glucose and fructose, molecular formula is same. What's the molar weight of 1 mole of sucrose? It's only 342. Because 1 mole of sucrose is made by the removal of 1 mole of water. So 18 grams per mole have to be removed. That's 342 will be the net mass. Here also it will be 342. So which disaccharide is given? And what is the difference between the two? One is reducing, why is sucrose not reducing? Understand it, it will be based on the free anomeric groups which are present attached to it. Am I clear with the statement here? Good. This is the disaccharide. Which one? Maltose, which is reducing or non-reducing? Which is reducing. Yes or no? Oh, clear? Right. Next one. Next disaccharide, children. Did you understand this clearly? Link you understood? Try this one, children. I'll remove the rest of it. So if you are asked in terms of the actual nomenclature of carbohydrates or carbohydrate chemistry, what is maltose made up of? So understand, maltose is made up of 2 alpha D plus glucopyranose structures. This is about maltose. The link is alpha 1,4 link. Yes. Carbon 1 is bonded to carbon 4. Yes or no? What's the link called as? Glycosidic link or glycosidic bond. Reducing or non-reducing? Reducing. And why it is reducing? Because 1 glucose anomeric carbon is free. It's not bound. This is the general postulate that you can talk about maltose. Clear? Shall I show glycosidic linkage again? Have a look, children. I'll show the glycosidic linkage again. So you draw it carefully. So you got oxygen here. Others I won't mention here. So what is the group here you got? OH. The next one I will draw one more a bit far so that it won't be covered up. Now here again you have OH group and at this position you have OH downwards itself, right? OH and OH minus water. So when water molecule will be removed. So this OH and H. OH and H is removed. What remains there? Oxygen. So this is the link between the two. Sometimes you show that link directly. So you show like this. But if you show link like this, that will be wrong. Because you can see that they are not present in this. This is not carbon, oxygen, carbon bonded. But this is the bond between OH groups which are present in the downward direction. It's like this orientation of molecules. So bond is like this. Molecule is here. Bonds are between the two at this particular position, not directly, because the presence of bond also gives us particular characteristic property that particular compound respectively about the stability and other lattice enthalpy values. Clear? Here also you have to talk about lattice enthalpy. Important because bonds are the energy altering interactions between two individual systems. Okay. Did you get it? Try drawing the diagrams, children. So I have a question. Draw 3 epimers of glucose. What are the 3 epimers of glucose? 3 epimers of glucose are glucose itself, mannose and galactose. They differ in the relative position of atoms except carbon 1. So you can see I have already showed in my class what exactly the diagrammatic analysis is. You can draw that, children. Okay, now if you talk about these bonds, I just talked about one disaccharide. 2 more disaccharides are to be discussed. The 2 more disaccharides you have are lactose and sucrose. These are 2 more disaccharides. Say, why does glucose dissolve in water but cyclohexane or benzene does not? How will you explain the anomaly that these disaccharides or glucose, which is also a cyclic structure? Benzene also has a cyclic structure. Even cyclohexane also has a cyclic structure. If almost their cyclic structures are same, why we have cyclohexane and benzene does not dissolve, but there is a dissolving of a monosaccharide unit in medium, in water? How will you explain this? Quite simple, we can say that it contains lots of alcohol groups in the form of OH. Although it's a ring structure itself, which will be stabilized by hydrophobic hydrophilic interactions as well, but it contains lots of OH groups. And presence of OH group makes it one of the necessary conditions to undergo hydrogen bonding. So with water it can develop hydrogen bonds and dissolving can come into play. However, you cannot define the same for cyclohexane and benzene because there is no development of electronegativity. Differences are not there at all. Hydrogen is there, which is attached to carbon. So carbon hydrogen electronegativity does not impart polarity, because we know for dissolving in water 2 things are important. Either you should have charge on yourself, means the molecule should have charge on itself, or number 2, the molecule itself should have some polarity in the bond so to somehow interact with the medium, because water is a polar entity and interaction with it needs polarity itself. So that doesn't happen in cyclohexane or benzene. The dissolving does not occur. So you can have dissolving of disaccharides also. Although remember that when the surface area increases, the dissolving tendency in the medium are reduced. That we will see in polysaccharides. When we discuss about the polysaccharides, we will see there how exactly does those things come into play. Did you understand this disaccharide one clearly? Which one? Maltose. What's a link in maltose? Alpha 1,4. What are the 2 units by which it's made up of? It's made up of glucose plus glucose. Which glucose? Alpha D plus glucose, alpha D plus glucose. Tell me what's the optical rotation of each glucose, whether alpha or beta. Optical rotation is 52. Actually, it is made from alpha and beta units. But on equilibration, the net optical activity becomes 52. I told you the concept called as mutarotation. What is mutarotation? Spontaneous change in the optical activity of a particular substance. So if you prepare pure form of alpha, pure alpha form, or you prepare pure beta form, assuming that optical rotation will be only 18 degrees dextrorotatory and optical rotation will be 118 dextrorotatory. You are wrong, because after you let these 2 solutions to stand, they will interconvert from one form to other, and interconversion occurs via which form? Open form, and it is this open form that gives the test. So as I mentioned, I repeat it again, anomeric carbon, if it is able to free itself up, it will be able to show the reducing property. Thus all the monosaccharides you talk about are reducing, but all disaccharides will not be reducing. Polysaccharides also will be discussed, and keep it in mind, although all the polysaccharides have got free reducing ends, that is free carbon 1 will be there, but they are non-reducing. The reason is the effective size and the effective reaction, that reaction is shown with polysaccharides, but the effective reaction will be different. That we'll discuss when we discuss polysaccharides. Understood or not? Clear? So I think this should be enough for the analysis of this, because you need to be careful about the ring cyclization, ring cyclic furan and pyranose forms. And how furon and keep it in mind, it is furon and then it is pyron. Furon means 5-membered ring. Okay, so 5-membered ring including oxygen. This is 6-membered ring including oxygen. Correct or not? So in furon of fructose, how many CH2 groups are going out of the plant? 2. And in case of pyron, how many CH2 groups are going out of plant? 1. So how do you classify whether it's alpha or beta form with respect to cis and trans positions? Analytically, conventionally cis and trans. Technically it's not cis and trans. Conventionally cis and trans positions. And then I discussed about disaccharide, which is made up of alpha D plus glucopyranose. You understood how do we name it? This is on the basis of relative configuration. This is on the basis of anomeric carbon. This is on the basis of optical activity. This is on the basis of the matching of the ring structure. This is on the basis of, we call monosaccharides as OCs. This is glucose. Hexoglucopyranose also you can write. Hexoglucopyranose, because there are 6 members present in the system itself. Am I clear with the thought here? Right. So in our next discussion, we'll start a discussion on disaccharides and polysaccharides. Am I clear, children? All right. Thank you.